Welcome back to episode number 11 of Seattle Sports Scene. Today we will be looking at the Mariners and what we saw from them through their first 7 games. We will also touch a bit on the Sounders and their new signing, and the Kraken and their top prospects. Let's get into it.
A drive deep to right field, down the line. The Mariners win this game 2-1.
Drops back. He's going to throw down the middle. He's got a man. The ball is caught.
Game over,
It is a
baby.
touchdown. The game is over.
With a shot blocked. Everly in front for Schwartz. They score! Hey, hey! What do you say? The ground early. Now the cross out to Door. What a save by Fry!
What is going on, Seattle sports fans? We're back with another episode of the Seattle Sports Scene. As always, we're your hosts, Seattle Sports Season, and myself, That Kraken fan page. Excited, episode 11. Here we are. It's been opening day has come and gone for the Mariners. We're about 7 games in for them, so we'll get to dive into some conversation about that. Sounders make a signing move, get on topic about that, and see kind of who that new player is, what to expect from him. And obviously, as we know, our Kraken are not doing very hot right now, kind of in tanking mode. So we'll see about kind of how their prospects are doing today, talk about a few things around them. And then we got a couple listener questions from you guys. So let's lead off, though, with the Sounders and their new signing. And Seattle sports season here is going to get us started off with that.
Yeah, so the Sounders announced earlier this week the signing of Ryan Kent. He's a 28-year-old kind of winger style player. He joins the Sounders after 10 professional seasons in Europe, tallying over 300 appearances across all competitions in England, Germany, Scotland, and Turkey. He was once upon a time in Liverpool's youth system. He graduated from Liverpool's youth system. He spent 5 seasons with Rangers FC of the Scottish Premier League, earning Scotland Young Player of the Year in 2018-2019. Scottish Premiership Team of the Year in 2018-2019, and in 2020-2021. He also was named to the UEFA Europa League Team of the Season in 2021-2022 season. He has also played in a UEFA Champions League match with the same club. His player build, he is an aggressive dribbler. He is a pretty solid goal scorer and mostly just a creative playmaker. Like I said earlier, he's a winger. He has good ball skills. In 5 different seasons, he had more than 10 goal contributions. His best season was in 2020-2021, where he had 12 goals and 12 assists. Honestly, a very solid pickup for the Sounders. It's a guy that is a few years removed from his most productive season. However, he's still only 28. This is a 1-year deal with an option for 2026. And he's a guy with just a lot of experience playing in big games. Rangers FC is one of the powerhouses in the Scottish Premier League. He's played, like I said, in a lot of Europa League games, Champions League game. And honestly, I'm just pretty excited. When he debuts is still kind of up in the air, as it sounds like it might be like 3 to 4 weeks before he plays. He just sounds like he might be a little bit. He hasn't really played in a competitive match here in a while. That's what I'm trying to say. Either way, though, it's going to be a great pickup for the Sounders as they're needing just kind of a spark offensively, and hopefully Ryan Kent can do that for the Sounders. He should be able to be pretty productive in the MLS, despite not playing for a while. I imagine he'll be able to come in and make an impact here right off the bat. So, good signing for the Sounders, much needed. Props to the management for going out and getting a player when we needed one. And it's not just an everyday guy that you find in the United States. They didn't just call up someone from Tacoma. They actually went out and got what we hope can be a difference maker. Basically, just expect him to fill the role that Paul Arriola was going to fill, but with a little bit more upside, I'd say. So, good, solid signing for the Sounders.
You were talking about his best season being in 2020, the 2020-2021 season.
Uh-huh.
12 goals and 12 assists. Again, as I said it many times before, as somebody who doesn't know soccer very well, is that a respectable season? Is that an overperforming season, underperforming season? Like, what kind of season is a 12 goal, 12 assist season for somebody in soccer?
That's a really solid season. Anytime that you can kind of get over 20 goal contributions, that means you had a really good year. I'm trying to pull up Jordan Morris. Like, if you think about guys for the Sounders that have contributed, Jordan Morris last year had 18 goals in all competition, 14, 10, 12, 13, 14. Um, and so that's like a really solid season, especially with the 12 assists. Probably not going to see that type of production out of him, I would imagine. But if he can be anywhere just around that 10 goal production, goal contribution mark, I think that's going to be really solid for the Sounders.
Yeah, so you're kind of looking for a 5 to 10 goal season kind of thing, and maybe, I don't know, 8 to 15 assists.
Yeah, I mean, even 8 to 15 is a little bit high. I'd be happy from him if we saw like, like 6 goals and 7 assists. I think that'd be anybody that's just out there making plays. Um, and it's not about just the goals and assists. It's about the hockey assist as well, where you're feeding good through balls to people that are then sending balls into the box. Like, you just need someone out there that's making stuff happen, because right now the Sounders really don't have anybody that's doing that.
Yeah, yeah. Well, exciting to hear about that signing. I think it's, I'm excited to see somebody that we have who can now fill in that role, as you said, that we've been kind of missing. How have the Sounders been doing as of late? I've gotten a chance to kind of keep up with some scores, but I know they played San Jose recently. How was the outcome of that?
Yeah, so they played San Jose Saturday night on the road, a game that I was really hoping they'd be able to pick up 3 points in. Um, they ended up tying 1-1, taking home 1 point. Ultimately, a disappointing game. The Sounders had nearly 3 goals expected on the night and were only able to put one in. They had a ton of shots, majority of the possession, but once again, it's just a story of not being able to put the ball in the back of the net when it actually matters. I didn't get a chance to watch this game. I was busy on Saturday night, so I don't really have too much more to comment on how they played. I just saw the advanced analytics after the game and then the game summary highlights. So it looked like more of the same. I will say the Rusnak goal, was a very nice goal. Kind of cuts into the box, hits it just an absolute beam into the corner. Perfect shot to get the Sounders on the board. And I mean, normally I'd be happy taking 1 point on the road, but not against a team like San Jose, and not like we are playing right now. So we need to really start picking up 3 points, um, or else we are going to kind of build ourselves into another hole like we did last season.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's all I've got about the Sounders. Other than I'm very excited. I got to pick up my tickets for a Sounders game for the first game program the Sounders are doing. So I'll be going to the St. Louis game at the end of May, I believe. So I'm super excited to be able to experience that for the first time in quite a bit of time. Haven't been to a game in a while, and it was a very I'll say very boring game of a 0-0 draw and not very many chances for either team. So I'm excited to get to experience something like that again. So
Yeah, hopefully we'll have our guys back by then and you'll be able to see some goals.
oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that's it for the Sounders for me. As we're just gonna change gears here into the Mariners, who just finished their first week of the regular season. A week where we saw them split 2 of 4 against the A's, and then we went 1 out of 3 against the Tigers. Winning the one game against Cy Young Award winner last year, Tariq Skubal, and losing and getting kind of owned by their 4 and 5 starters. I won't say we got owned on Monday. They did put up quite a few runs, but Jackson Jobe still was able to pitch pretty well. Mize yesterday completely owned us, though, as a middle tier righty who has a 4-seam fastball. He kind of just was able to get whatever he wanted. But what are your thoughts on the Mariners after 1 week of play?
Not quite as I expected. I kind of expected to take 2 out of 3 from the A's, or 2 out of 4 from. Excuse me. Wow. Kind of expected to take 3 out of 4 from the A's and 2 out of 4 from the Tigers. With respect to the A's, I think they're going to be a lot better of a team this season than they have been in the past. But, a little bit of a rough start, especially for a couple of our pitchers. Emerson Hancock obviously didn't have a great outing. He's back in the minors now. I thought Logan Gilbert played really well in his start on opening day.
Pitched really well yesterday as well.
Yeah, he pitched really well yesterday also. Yeah. Castillo's been solid too as well in his first 2 games played. It's not letting me pull up. I'm trying to pull up our pitchers' actual stats, but MLB is broken, their website. So, but anyway, I will say I'm surprised kind of at the production we're getting from some of our players. You called it in our episode last week, but Randy Rosarena is playing quite well. He's got 4 hits in his 23 at bats and 2 home runs already, which is a team leading stat in 7 games played. So I think that's great that he's already getting that kind of production early on in the season. What really surprised me was Jorge Polanco with his start to the season, which I didn't expect at all. Obviously, defensively, he's been struggling a little bit, but offensively, I mean, he's batting, obviously, in only 4 games played, but he's batting 400. He's got a home run on the board already, and he's really just taking his at-bats, one at-bat, one swing at a time, one pitch at a time, and he looks comfortable there, is what I'll say. Yeah, obviously, he's still waiting for kind of Julio to warm up a little bit. It's 7 games in, so I'm not going to worry about it too much, but he's still waiting for Julio to warm up a little bit. Still waiting for Ryan Bliss to kind of get under that fastball like he's been practicing all off-season, all spring training, trying to practice getting under those. And he's definitely a player that I'm hoping to see have a little bit of a breakout year here in his first full season in a Mariners uniform. I'd like to see a little bit more of Dylan Moore. I think he's played pretty well also. 5 games played, 2 runs scored, 3 hits. He's batting .375 and 8 at-bats. Pretty good. Obviously,
homered off Skubal today too.
Homered off Skubal as well. Yep. Obviously, it's Dylan Moore. You're not going to expect him to be a superstar for you. Offensively, obviously, defensively, he wins the Gold Glove for the utility player last season. And well deserved. I think he did a really good job playing at that position last year, or positions last year. But yeah, you love to see at least a couple of your hitters start to wake up here 7 games in and start to drive in some runs.
Yeah, Randy, while the batting average isn't quite there right now, I think he's still below 200. He's averaging over 100 miles per hour on exit velo so far. He's had some hits that were robbed from him. He hit 2 right up the middle that happened to find the second baseman. He had a double that he scorched down the line. Both of his home runs were just majestic shots. That were put in the bullpen. I've really been impressed from what I've saw from him so far. I think we need to see, like you mentioned, we need to see Cal and Julio warm up. Cal got his home run. Julio hit a home run as well, which is good. That's the earliest home run he's hit in his career, so that's promising to see. Julio, I think, has been playing really well. The stats may not show it. He still does have 9 strikeouts on the year so far, which leads the team. But he also has 5 walks, which also leads the team. He has shown in bigger moments, just obviously tiny sample size, but I feel like his eye has been a lot better. There's been a few times where he's chased out of the zone, a few really bad at-bats, but on the most part, I feel like he has I think he's shown that he's taking a step forward with his eye, and that's got to be something that he continues to prove day in and day out for the rest of the season. But there are a few times where he is taking ball four. He's working full counts, even if they end up in a strikeout. I can only remember one AB throughout these first 7 games where he struck out in 3 pitches. He's working counts, so I've been really impressed. I think we will start to see him get hot, and already a better start than what he had last year, even though it's obviously still not great. I've also been, besides the first game, I feel like Victor Robles has played pretty well. Um, so all in all, I'm impressed by the outfield up until this point. I think the batting averages will start to come. But right now, the infield, specifically the new guys, that being Tellez, Solano, and Bliss, are awful. They're combined for 3 for 38 in the first week with 15 strikeouts and only 1 RBI. Solano looks like he's never played Major League Baseball before.
Solano looks like hot buns out there.
Yeah. Tellez has been okay. He really doesn't look all that competitive at the plate. He kind of just looks slow and behind.
He's been making
not
some decent contacts.
more than Solano for sure.
Yeah. I feel like he also is another player who needs a little bit more of a warm up to kind of get into his zone. I also don't expect that much from Rowdy Tellez this season. I just expect him to be able to, give us a couple of hits, couple of runs, and play solid first base.
Bliss has played well.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously the batting average is not great. The hitting stats in general are not great. He is hitting just 111 on 2 for 18. So not fantastic. He has produced when he gets on base though. The stolen bases, he's manufactured 2 runs that were kind of just caused by his speed and causing some chaos on the bases. He's played pretty great defense so far at second. And so Bliss, I'll give the pass for now. I think his bat will come around. But Tellez and Solano are both guys that aren't giving you much defensively. And so they kind of got to start getting going here with their bats if they're going to continue to see playing time. Other than that, I feel like this team, I was hoping for 4-3. Optimistically 5-2, but realistically I was hoping for 4-3. So for them to go 3-4 wasn't that far off my expectations. I agree with you in the fact that I think the A's are a lot more talented than people give them credit for. Luis Severino is a legit good pitcher. They threw him out opening day. Honestly, all of their starters kind of impressed me. A lot of these games I didn't feel necessarily like the Mariners were like, what am I trying to say here? The Mariners batters just got some really good opposing pitching. Like, I don't feel like they were missing a lot of pitches. I feel like the Tigers series, they were missing pitches, but the A series, I was honestly just impressed by each starter that the A's rolled out. So we'll see how they do here with a road trip to San Francisco for just 3 days. San Francisco is a very talented team. They just swept Houston in Houston. They have fantastic starting pitching. The Mariners are going to have to face Verlander, Robbie Ray, and Jordan Hicks. That is a really tough weekend set. We'll see what they do as they go out. I don't think San Francisco's quite warm yet. Probably going to be a tough offensive weather with wind and just overall cold on the bay there in San Francisco, but we'll see what they do as they go hit the road for their first road trip of the season.
Yeah, San Francisco surprises me because if I'm looking at their lineup, there's not too much in this team that kind of makes you worried, I guess. I think Patrick Bailey is a pretty underrated young catcher. Wilmer
Won
Flores
the Gold
is
Glove
good
last season.
Yeah. Yeah, Wilmer Flores is good. Matt Chapman has been awesome for them. Ramos has been good as well. This is a team. This is my second favorite team. My mom grew up a Giants fan. My cousin's a Giants fan, so I have paid close attention to this team. And I will say they've surprised me with their start. I've paid attention to them almost as much as I paid attention to the Mariners. And this, to echo my thoughts again, this is kind of a surprising start for the Giants. I was not expecting an Astros sweep. They're 5-1 in their division, right behind the 7-0 Padres and the 7-0 Dodgers.
Holy moly, that sucks.
Yeah, this division is the NL West is 7-0, 7-0, 5-1, and the Diamondbacks are 3-2, and then the Rockies are 1-3. But I mean, who was expecting anything else but that from the Rockies?
Wow.
But that's a competitive division, and I don't think the Padres are going to go away anytime soon from the Dodgers. So you can expect them to kind of be going toe to toe. And the Giants are probably going to be a wild card team, I imagine. I had them being at least a bubble team at best. But yeah, this Giants team definitely has some underrated pitching. Absolutely. So, and MLB still will not let me bring up pitching stats. So it's
kind of incredible to think about the National League. This kind of off topic from the Mariners, but think about all the talented teams that are not going to make the playoffs. I think the National League is much more talented than the American League.
Can we talk about the Atlanta Braves being the only team without a win right now?
Yeah, I mean,
we don't have to talk on that, but
to start the season. But yeah, it's kind of crazy that they haven't picked up a win yet.
Yeah, like 0-6.
They started with the Padres and the Dodgers, so that's a tough way to start your season in California. But the Braves are a very good team. They'll right and ship, obviously. They'll get Acuna back here in a month or two as well. Mm-hmm. Then you have the Mets, who haven't started great, but they'll find a way. The Phillies, you get one central team that will make the playoffs, probably the Cubs. And then really it's like you could realistically see all three wild card teams from the NL West in the Dodgers, Padres, Giants, and then the Diamondbacks. So it's kind of crazy to think about.
Yeah. I think the Diamondbacks make a pretty good push. Shout out to Eugenio Suarez. He's like, I want to say he's 5 for 5 not 5 for 5. He's all 5 of his hits have been home runs this season.
It's incredible.
Does not have one hit that's not a home run. So really good for him. I miss that dude a lot. I wish we had kept him.
But it's okay because we have. Oh wait, Josh Rojas. Where'd he go?
All the way to Chicago.
Urias, what happened to him?
Oh my gosh, the AL Central's so bad.
Yeah, they're awful.
Oh gosh,
the NL Central's pretty awful too.
Yep. Dang. But yeah,
glad we're not in the NL because I don't think this Mariners team would really have a fighting chance at a playoff spot in the NL this year.
Probably not this year. Nope. But yeah, this Giant series coming up is going to be an interesting one. I think it's going to be up to the pitching to kind of keep their hitting down. All of their players in their top half of the rotation, they're all batting upwards of 220. Matos, who's a young batter, he's batting 400 right now. Chapman's 238, Ramos is 269, and these guys have all been hitting home runs. 4 home runs, 3 home runs, a couple of 1-homers, lots of hits all around, and they've got a talented infield too. So it's going to be very interesting to see how we play against this team, but I'm definitely excited to see how it goes in this series. Also excited to soon, hopefully, I heard that Matt Brash is traveling with the team to San Francisco, so there's a potential possibility he could start or play in the third game if he's healthy enough, maybe even the second game, but it's going to be nice to have another setup pitcher / backup closer back to be able to aid Gregory Santos and Andres Munoz in that kind of top end half of the bullpen.
Yeah, I don't think Troy Taylor is traveling with the team to San Francisco.
Or Kirby.
But he touched 99 in his rehab outing in Tacoma. So that's another guy. When you can replace Brash and Troy Taylor, you can get rid of Vargas and Bizardo. That is going to be a pretty elite bullpen, in my opinion,
Mhm.
between. And I was going to talk about this, but shout out to Andres Munoz, who started the season a perfect 3 for 3 on save opportunities, has not given up a run. Had a little bit of a scare today. He couldn't really find the control to come out. He ended up, Dylan Moore makes a great play on the chopper. He goes home, gets the out, bases loaded. Munoz gets out of it for the save today, but he has had a bit of a rough start the last 2 seasons. Um, Many of you probably remember the Brewers game last year where he walked 4 straight batters and gave up runs. It's really promising to see him get into a groove here early. He's healthy. He's hitting 100 consistently with the fastball. The slider looks electric. Like, he could realistically be in contention for reliever of the year this year if this kind of trend stays to par. Also, Dan Wilson seems to be set in using him as a closer. There is an opportunity there in the A series. They had Butler, Rooker, and the 9-hole hitter, I think, up, and Dan Wilson elected to go with Trent Thornton instead of Andres Munoz to face those guys. And I think that kind of shows that he has a different approach to the bullpen than Scott Servais. Scott Servais was very much, we're going to use our high leverage arms in our highest leverage situations. So if that happens to be in the 7th inning, that's when those guys are going to be up. We're going to use them in the 7th inning. But it looks like Dan Wilson is going to use Munoz in the 9th. And I think that is going to be a big factor in if Munoz can win reliever of the year, because he's so far come in 3 times and gone 3 saves, which is tied for the lead in the MLB. So if he can continue that up, really the sky's the limit for him. All-star appearances, everything you could dream of if he is as locked down as he's been at the end of the last 2 seasons.
Yeah, he's been really. He's got some good stuff. And have we seen his new pitch yet? I think
I don't think he is going to be using it per se. I think
at
it
least
was
not
maybe just
yet.
a spring training toy.
Mhm.
Um Unless if there really becomes a need for it.
Yep.
Unless like people start mashing one of his other pitches and he really feels the need to use that changeup to get people off his other stuff. But right now, the 4-seam fastball, nobody's touching. Even the few people that have gone on base, most of them have been walks. An infield chopper, I don't think he's given up any hard contact so far throughout the first 3 appearances. So unless something starts to go south, I don't imagine we see that pitch in play here during the season.
Yeah, he's done a really good job with his pitches too. I mean, it's really hard to hit off of somebody who's throwing 102 pitches in a row and like painting the edge of the zone, and then you get 100 down the middle, and you're expecting another fastball, and then you get an 82-mile-an-hour slider. Like it throws you off like crazy. I'm sure as a batter, kind of getting that sequence of pitches. So he and Gabe Spear, the only 2 pitchers to have not given up a run yet. Spear having a much better start to the season than I thought he would. But I think he also was pretty quietly injured last season.
Yes,
Even
Spire was
before and
wrecked.
after, yeah, even before and after like being hurt, I think he was not okay last season.
Yeah, we even saw he hit 96 on his fastball today, which is the fastest I've ever seen it in game.
Hmm.
He looks really, really good. When you know that when he's in on those left-handed hitters, just forcing ground balls. He did that today, and if they can have him as a good lefty, that it would be huge. A high leverage lefty was something that we were kind of lacking last year.
Hmm.
Um, and so to have him alongside Santos and Brash and Troy Taylor and Munoz, and then you kind of have Saucedo and Trent Thornton as guys that you can bring in as like kind of innings eaters, that'd be huge for this team.
Yeah, and with Sauce kind of struggling right now, it's good to
Yeah.
have somebody like Spire be able to step in and kind of help out in that. in that area. And just to fact check myself really quick, I read the rest of the list. Munoz, Spire, Diaz, and Santos are the 4 bullpen pitchers who have not given up a hit or a run yet. Santos obviously has been great. Jonathan Diaz had a really good outing actually the other day against the Tigers, I believe it was. I was very impressed with his stuff, which is funny because he just throws curveball after curveball after curveball. But he honestly had a very impressive outing. I was very impressed with how he went about that.
He also opened in Tacoma and went 8 and a third 1 run allowed, and I think that mixed with Hancock's kind of explosion. I'll say about Hancock, I don't think that he didn't look completely awful. He kind of got unlucky. There's a lot of kind of flares that went up the middle. He had 2 outs. It was a home run that just got out of the park to opposite field. He definitely the box score looked a lot worse than I felt like he performed. Some of the hits, like I said, came on pitches outside the zone, but still, that performance mixed with the fact that Jonathan Diaz performed really well in his first AAA outing, I think made that choice for the Mariners ownership, management pretty easy.
Yeah, and I mean, you look at he only gave up 1 walk. Obviously, he has 6 errors, whether they be on him or not. And gives up 6 hits, but like only 1 walk. You'd love to see a strikeout there. You didn't get one. That's okay. The poor kid is sitting at an 81 ERA for the season. Obviously, after just 1 start, but that's a crazy number. I would never think I'd see even 6 games, 7 games into the MLB season.
Yeah, and I'm sure we'll see him again at some point this year as
Yeah, we
someone's
will.
bound, knock on wood. You hope everyone stays healthy, but someone's bound to go on the 10-day at some point. Or just a spot start here or there. Like, I'm sure we'll see him again and he'll get his opportunity to prove himself one more time. But for now, it looks like they'll be rolling with Diaz. Maybe they'll throw Diaz out on Sunday. You could
I
also
almost wonder
throw
if
out
we run a bullpen
Gilbert.
day.
Yeah, you could also throw out Gilbert on 5 days rest, which is normal rest. I don't know if they want to do that this early in the season though. I think depending on how the first 2 games go, but I would expect Logan Gilbert to be pitching on Sunday, barring us. Maybe if we win the first 2 games, they use Diaz, but even still, I imagine you see Logan Gilbert, especially with the off day next Thursday as well. You can kind of give the opportunity to reslot the rotation, and I expect Kirby to be back up by like the beginning of May. So it's really only 3 or 4 more starts that you kind of have to cover for in Kirby's absence.
Yeah, do we know when we're getting him back?
No, I think he's still in.
He's not traveling with the team. I know that's for sure.
No, I don't even think he's made an appearance in Tacoma yet. I think he's still in extended spring training games down in Arizona.
Okay.
They originally said that he should be back mid-April, but I'd expect that to be closer to the beginning of May.
Gotcha.
But yeah, that's about all I have on the Mariners. Do you have any other thoughts?
No, I don't got much else. Let's head over to some listener questions. Today's episode, guys, is going to be a little bit shorter. We're working on trying to get you guys some shorter episodes. I know it's difficult to listen to an hour and 20 minutes of us talking, and even though it can be very fruitful, productive conversation, it's still a lot of time of your day to take up. So we're going to hit some listener questions now. I've got a few here. Why don't you start us off with one?
This one's kind of fun. This was actually given to us last week. We just didn't really have the time to enter to talk about it. But someone said, went to the Climate Pledge games for March Madness over the weekend and thought the crowds were really good. Thoughts on basketball back in Seattle and what a comeback for the Sonics could look like. Adam Silver put out a quote the other day talking about how they haven't forgotten about the fans in Seattle, and just because they don't have anything to announce publicly at the time doesn't mean they haven't forgotten about us. I also had the opportunity to go to the March Madness games in Climate Pledge. I think that it's only a matter of time here before something is announced. Um, the NBA knows how much the M the Seattle area how good of a market they are for basketball. I also would say that at those March Madness games, there was not a lot of fans repping the team's colors that were playing, but there was a lot of just basketball fans there. I saw a lot of Sonics jerseys. I saw a lot of UW basketball merch. I saw a lot of people in Sounders and Kraken and Seahawks gear. Like, I think that there's a lot of people that just love basketball in Seattle. And granted, this was at 11:30 on a Friday, and the place was completely packed for a game between Maryland and Grand Canyon. Like, those are just people that love basketball, that want to see basketball back in the Pacific Northwest. The stadium is beautiful. The setup for March Madness was pretty good. There's still some things that they'd probably have to iron out, um, just because of the size discrepancy in a hockey floor versus a basketball floor. But I really think that it's only a matter of time before the Sonics come back.
I agree. I think it's going to be the next team. I know there's a couple other places that are currently also trying to get an expansion team to come their way, or they're trying to acquire ownership of another team. And I know Vegas is kind of in competition there with Seattle. And I've heard the argument of, well, Vegas, lots of gambling, it's a party city. There's a lot of opportunity for like it makes sense they'd have a basketball team, right? But I feel like regardless of from a fan perspective, maybe not from a business fan perspective, but from a fan perspective, like seeing in a team perspective, seeing a team that has a city that has a legacy that's so strong of the Sounders legacy, and a fan base that's waiting for basketball to come back, and a fan base that's hasn't really left. And I still see tons of Sonics. I still see tons of Sonic stuff all over the place. And you can feel that the city is just begging for a team and is just waiting and waiting and waiting. And I think they deserve a basketball team. I think we have for the last 10 to 15, 20 years. It's definitely super sad that the Sonics were taken away from Seattle. So I think it's high time that basketball comes back.
Yeah, and it's definitely tempting. I think for sure the NBA will expand in a set of two minimum. So I think you will see Vegas and Seattle. I'd be pretty surprised otherwise. It'd be hard if you're the NBA to look at the success that the Golden Knights have had in Vegas and their fan base, and just correct me if I'm wrong, but they bring in pretty good attendance even now.
They do. I feel like a lot of that can be accredited to their early success. I mean, they went to the Stanley Cup final on their first season, and then they went back again 2 years later, or the next season even, I think, and then they won a Stanley Cup, 4 years in. So I think a lot of it can be accredited to their success. But I mean, look at you look at the Raiders. Like, I don't know if they're doing, obviously not that great.
No,
of a
the Raiders
team.
are not doing well.
No, and a very established team in a league that's are way more popular than the NHL, and they're not doing well. And I'm curious to see how the A's do when they move to Vegas fully.
I
But I,
expect them to do pretty awful.
me as well. I don't think the Golden Knights' success is much of the city of Vegas, more of the like just overall success of how the team's been playing so early on. And I can't tell you, I can't tell you that I've seen very many Golden Knights fans. There's like, that is a Golden Knights fan, like through and through, die hard, goes to as many games as he can. It's a lot of people who are just like, yeah, I rep Vegas merch because I went to Vegas at one point and there's a cool Golden Knights hat there or something. It's 90% of the Vegas fans, at least I meet in person here in Seattle and see online. So
That's one of the reasons I feel like the NBA could do really well in Vegas, though, is because I think the NBA, in my opinion, is by far the most casually driven league. I think you get a lot of people at games all around the NBA who are just casuals that live in the area that want to go see a game. And so if you get people that are traveling into Vegas, I don't feel like a lot of people travel into a city and want to go stop by an MLB game.
no.
Or even even the NHL, I don't think you're just getting random people showing up. But the NBA, you definitely do, just because of the nature of basketball. You don't really have to know much to go in and enjoy the game. Um, so for that reason, I think that the NBA could do really well with an expansion team in Vegas.
Yeah, yeah. It's very, like you said, it's a very casual sport, very easy to kind of just jump into that when you're out of town, or even if you just want to go see a game living in Vegas or near Vegas. I'm surprised they don't already have a team in Vegas, to be honest, but it's only a matter of time till it happens.
There's already so much basketball that's played there between
Yeah.
college basketball and now the NBA Cup midseason
Mhm.
tournament. A lot of games that are played there.
Yep. Let's see. We have 2 Kraken questions. Obviously, like I said earlier in the episode, not much happening with the Kraken. It's tank time, and we have a potential chance at a top 3 pick. So it's been very boring hockey. I'm not going to say that. It's been entertaining, but it's been losses. This question was thoughts on Grubauer's recent performance. Philip Grubauer's recent performances. Better. I don't have numbers specifically, and I can try to pull some up. But he has looked a lot better in net. He looks more confident. He looks like he's got his swagger back. His positioning is better. Yeah, he lets in a couple of goals. I'm not even going to say a couple. Yeah, he lets in a goal or two that he probably shouldn't. But let me look at his last 5 starts. In his last 5 starts, he gives up 5 goals to Anaheim. That was one of his last worst games. That was before his send down to Coachella Valley. Coming back from Coachella Valley, he gives up 1 to the Flyers, 2 to Utah, 3 to Minnesota, and then 2 to Dallas. And the latter of those 4 teams that I just named off, the last 2, are both playoff teams. Playoff teams with good offenses, who have good power play units and are coached very, very well. And he gives up 3 goals of the .889 save percentage and 2 goals of the .933 save percentage. And that Dallas game was 2 nights ago at home. And he gave up 2 goals early on. One of them definitely was on him. The other one, I think, is partially him in the defense. And then after that, he locks in and saves upwards of, I think, 36 shots was the total shot count for the Stars. So he gives up, he's 34 for 36 in that game. But having a rough year, his goals allowed average is coming down. It was at 380 when he came back from Coachella. It's at 350 now. And his save percentage has moved up from 850 to 875. So the stats show it. The play shows it. The closeness of games show it. He's playing a lot better as of recently. Joey Daccord, a couple of people have asked me, like, why has Joey been playing worse than Grubauer? Should we be starting Grubauer? Should we be worried about this? You have to think that Grubauer is not only playing to try to get his swagger back, but Grubauer is also playing to give himself a good look on his resume for next season if we buy him out, or next season, if we don't start him in Coachella Valley. He's trying to give himself a good look for whatever happens to himself in the future. Joey knows that he's here as the starting goalie next season. He's just got locked down on an extension. Joey's, he's making business decisions here. He's not going to be throwing out his body or trying to play at the highest level possible to try to keep us in games where we're already down 2-0, 3-0, whatever. And with a defense that struggled to give goalie support this season too. So, or rather, offensive players that have struggled to give goalie support while playing defense. Because as I've stressed many times this season, our defensive players are doing a great job helping out. It's our offensive players when we're in the defensive zone. A little bit of a tongue twister there, but yeah, Grubauer, I think, can be right back to playing a lot better soon, or not a lot better, but he can be back to fully being at his best potential soon. I'm very curious to see what we do with him. Another question that before I move on to that other question,
no, I don't really have all that much. I was just gonna ask, kind of on the topic of Grubauer, the other question that we got, if you had to pick Berkey or Grew to buy out, which one would you do?
Ooh, I feel like this is a good question because realistically, we're not going to buy out both Grew and Burakovsky. As much as that would help in some ways. I wrote something down about this the other day. I feel like it would be better for the team to buy out Grubauer. You can look at the case of if he has another struggling performance to start off next season. He costs more than Burakovsky does. It's more likely that Grubauer giving up goals is going to hurt the team more than Burakovsky not scoring goals. And while they all have their struggles, Burakovsky's definitely somebody who can at least get some good passes and assists in. So we can at least appreciate him for that. I think if you had to pick, though, that they should buy out Burakovsky. I think Grew can take a long look at himself this offseason and lock in. And you can see, as I already said, his playing recently. He's faster, more focused. He's making huge saves. He's made a couple of highlight reels. He's not allowing late game goals. And you just need 1 to 2 more years of decent goaltending from him and or somebody else that you pick up until Coco's ready. Or in the long shot until Victor Osman is ready. I don't think Osman will be playing at an NHL level, but you never know. It could happen. And clearing the $5 million that Burakovsky is taking up and getting a spot on the roster for somebody like Ty Cartier to come play 4th or 3rd line minutes. Mikey Eyssimont could be playing more than 4th line minutes as well. A player who I think the Kraken should re-sign this offseason who's been playing really, really well. He's just kind of a better version. He's like a combination of Ty Cartier, Yanni Gourde, and Andre Burakovsky, and he's doing what all of them do better than all of them, to be honest. And that's no disrespect to Burakovsky, Gourde, and Cartier. It's just I see Eyssimont grinding more. He's got a really good shot that he takes really good positioning on. So, but that's a whole nother conversation for another time. If I had to pick one, it would probably be Burakovsky. But I could see them going either way this offseason.
Yeah. Just one last question here. It's a Mariners question. What player do you expect is most likely to win an award at the end of this season? I'd say either. I think the most likely is honestly at this point either Cal Raleigh to win another Gold Glove, or after his first 2 starts, I genuinely believe that Logan Gilbert has a legitimate top 3 odds to win the Cy Young. So most likely either Cal at Gold Glove or Gilbert at Cy Young. My dream shot in the dark here is obviously Julio to win an MVP. That would be amazing. I think that would have wonders to say about what the Mariners could have the possibility to do this season. But as of right now, I'd say Logan Gilbert to win the Cy Young.
I think Logan Gilbert to win the Cy Young is probably the most likely. I would say I don't have a lot of ones that are very likely to happen. I feel like Logan Gilbert to win the Cy Young is probably the most likely. I have 3 very unlikely ones that could be fun. Brian Wu winning a Cy Young would be awesome, and I think he's more than capable of it. Very, very, very hot take, but based off of his start batting to start the season, a Silver Slugger to Jorge Polanco would be kind of funny if that happened.
Be insane.
That would be insane if it happened, but if he keeps batting the way he's going to, it's going to happen, or it could happen.
It's tough at third base in the AL with Devers. Obviously, Devers not off to a great start. Also, Jose Ramirez for Cleveland, but definitely if he keeps hitting 380, nothing's out of the question. So
absolutely, yeah. And I feel like one of our outfielders, I feel like could have a good chance at, because outfielders can win Gold Gloves, right, for their defense.
Yeah.
I feel like one of our outfielders has a solid chance. Probably Julio more than Robles or Rosarena, but I feel like one of our outfielders will at least finish top 3 for Gold Glove nominations this season.
Agreed.
I mean, there's too much youth and energy and like talent out there to not be somewhere up there in the Gold Glove competition.
It's center field, and then they give out 2 corner outfields.
Okay, yeah.
So they do treat center field as a different position as it should be.
Even still, I think Julio definitely has a chance.
Yeah, me too. His defense has been amazing so far to start the season.
As always.
Yeah, but that's all that I have. Anything else from you before we close this out?
Nope, that's all that I got as well. We're able to keep this video episode a little bit shorter, which is great. Keep an eye out, everybody, in the next couple of weeks for it was a Seahawks draft look we were going to be doing in a few weeks.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to still be looking into that. We're doing more research on that, talking about how we kind of want to go about it. But keep an eye out for that as we will drop one of those soon, hopefully. And yeah, that's really all that I've got in terms of news from us.
Yeah, that's it.
Alrighty. Thank you guys so much for listening. Once again, you can find us on YouTube, Spotify, and Instagram. Be sure to share this podcast with your friends. As we've said many times before, our main goal is to share our love for all 4 major Seattle sports teams, hopefully 5 soon when the Sonics come back, of our passion for each of those teams and try to connect Seattle sports fans to watch and engage on all of those teams. So far, we've had a couple of successes already with a couple of people, but hopefully it's going to reach as many people as we can soon. So again, thank you guys so much for listening, and we will catch you in the next episode.
See ya.